Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another session of Seat Academy Live. We've got Tamira Prasad, Keziah Zachariah, and then John Falkman will be joining us shortly. So, as you know, 2022 has been a up and down start for almost everybody. So, please, we are here to share what our challenges was for January. We're also here to discuss what we have improved with regards to certain things that unfortunately took place during January. And I must say that the thing that comes to mind for me is number one, um, just the huge amount of students or parents that is actually still invested into um, why they need an online platform. Good morning, Mr. Falkman. Hope you're well.
Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, the rest of the guests.
Right.
Morning.
So, as I was saying, yes, so 2022 came with its own set of challenges this year. And I know that about, I think this week, the Department of Education put out a notice that schools are back to normal. And the first thing that came to mind when I saw that is, what is normal? You know, what is going back to normal? Because if you think about going back to normal, yes, the schools has got the classroom, the kids are all together, they're with friends, but does that normal actually include the bullying that the kids have been going through, the anxiety, the depression, the overcrowdedness of classes, and things like that? I mean, really, is that something that you would want to go back to? If not, please put it in the chat box. Let us chat to you and hear what your thoughts are. But in the meantime, let's chat to Seat Academy staff and hear their feelings with regards to the start of 2022. And I think let's start off with Mr. Fulkbane, the CEO.
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Tamira, Kazaya, and listeners. I was catching the last of what you were saying there, Melissa, in terms of what is normal. And I think that if you look at what COVID has done, is what was normal is no longer normal, and you have new normals and so on. And I think the same thing in the space of online schooling, something that was never considered before is now suddenly regarded as normal. And it's something I'm glad about because I've been a teacher for a very long time. And I feel that the traditional school system is good, but is it the right system for preparing our learners for the future? Is it the system that as a country that, per capita, we spend more than any other country in Africa on education? Yet we have probably the highest or one of the highest unemployment rates among young people. So as a country, one has to start with the end in mind, and education is a critical component of that. So how do we set up things so that we want to set up our learners for success instead of failure? And I think that what Seat Academy tries to do is we try to do that by the way in which everything that we're doing. An example is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is a critical component to to the future, because learners and adults in future are going to have to change careers often, and they're going to have to learn new skill sets. So the traditional school system says, I'm going to teach you how to do it. We're saying that we're going to give you the power to learn via our pre-recorded video lessons and so on, as well as in the live classes we consolidating, and we looking at things like collaboration, creative thinking, and stuff like that. So I think it's just a case of changing the way we do things, because if you do that, the definition of insanity in the modern version is if you do the same thing over and over again, you can't expect a different result.
Sure.
And I think that's part of the challenge, is that we're trying to teach learners the same way we were taught. And the decision makers are the guys that their education system was created for the second industrial revolution. I'm talking about that national level. Whereas, as at Seat Academy, we like to bring on board young people like Melissa and Tamira and Keziah, so that we're able to understand how our young people think, how they operate, because everybody says they're preparing kids for the future, but it's about how you're doing it. If you're doing it the way you were taught, you're going to find it very difficult to do that. Okay, let me stop talking there for now, Melissa.
Okay, so that gives us a direction, that gives us an idea why we are doing this. But Mr. Fulpain, I've got one question for you that I'd like. Our challenges of 2022. I mean, unfortunately, with any institution, even mainstream schooling, there are certain challenges, and Seat Academy has had the challenges. Um, are you? Can you discuss the challenges we had and how we've improved on those challenges?
The main challenge we had at the beginning of the year is due to the number of learners that have been joining us. Um, and well done to our sales and marketing team for that. Um, we've obviously needed to employ additional tutors or teachers. And with employing additional teachers and tutors, what tends to happen at the beginning of a year is many people are applying for positions. So what happens is we've appointed close to 40 new staff. And what tends to happen is people apply for multiple positions. So they'll apply for a position with us, probably a normal school, maybe another online school. And then what tends to happen is that just as they're about to start, suddenly they tell us, sorry, we can't make it. And so that puts us in a very difficult position because it takes about a week or 2 weeks to recruit somebody and then another couple of days to induct them, especially somebody that hasn't done online schooling and we have to get the material to them and so on. So, and the equipment and train them up on it. So it takes between 2 and 3 weeks to get somebody ready. And at the beginning of the school year, one doesn't really want that. So we are applying our minds as to how we do this as we grow next year, because I think in terms of our goal is to make a real difference in education in South Africa. And so that means that we're going to grow quite significantly in the next year. But in terms of how we're addressing it, we obviously, it's taken us about 2 weeks to get into the swing of things. We now have most of our tutors for every single subject that has been appointed. And then what we're going to do for next year to make sure this doesn't happen again is that we'll make sure that 2 or 3 weeks of work is basically on the system. And then four new learners then basically to have access to that work in case for whatever reason we've appointed people and they just let us down. Which I think it's not very nice of them, but as an academy, we do understand that sometimes people apply for multiple positions. But I mean, in terms of our recruitment process, we are going to try to find people that buy into our values, so that we don't have the situation where people just accept posts and then at the last minute they drop us. And then that basically has a ripple effect because now we don't have learners for our live classes. But as I said, we want to make sure that our learners are not disadvantaged. So what we'll do next year, as soon as somebody joins, they'll have access to at least 3 weeks of work, which means it gives us enough time should that happen. So there is a plan of action going forward. And I'd like to thank our parents and our tutors, as well as our leadership at Seat Academy for your patience in this time. With growth comes challenges, but I believe that we've overcome that. And for the parents, we've added an extra week to our calendar to make up for the work. And what tends to happen in our environment is that it's not like traditional schooling where a child has one chance to listen to a lesson and that's it. If they miss the lesson or they don't understand or they're absent for that day, they kind of miss it. In our environment, if you miss a lesson, you still have access to those lessons. So all our learners will catch up and we'll make sure that no learner is disadvantaged due to a staff member or them not having a teacher for a week or two.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Fulpen.
Thank you very much.
I must say that yes, and I totally agree. You know, a lot of parents that you want to start and you want your child to be in a class and you want to have everything sorted out, but would you rather have a tutor join the academy and not be prepared and not understand the program, or I mean, putting in the time from our side, just making sure that you do get the service that we promised that we would give you, um, So then there's also Tamira, you from a tutor's point of view, obviously. So you've always had some challenges, but can you just explain to us a little bit about what your subjects are, what phases you are in, and just the challenges you've had for January and how we as a company has either improved or can improve on certain things?
Okay, so thank you for the introduction. I don't think I have to go over that again. But as Melissa said, yes, I am Miss Tamira Parsad, and I am the current physical science teacher for the FET phase, grade 10 to 12. I am also the FET phase head. So kind of elaborating on what John said, he did discuss it beautifully about our challenges and all of that. The main thing was the tutors, and unfortunately, because we didn't have certain tutors appointed to certain subjects, there wasn't a lot of pre-recorded videos and stuff for that. However, those positions, I can gladly say now, the vast majority of them have been filled. To address parent concerns, since the vast majority of them come to me about, okay, for example, why isn't there pre-recorded videos on this lesson or this lesson and so forth? I have made it a point to let my parents know that as soon as we get new tutors on board, like in a traditional school, if the DBA says in week 3, for example, you need to have your assessment done here, you get 2 days to do that assessment. And then on the 18th of March, for example, you write your test. There's no two ways about it. The nice thing here about SEAT is we do realize we make mistakes. We apologize for that and we take ownership for that. And it's also open communication. So parents and students always know what's happening. And to put their minds at ease, I have made it a point to let my parents know, like John said, every new tutor and every new staff member that we bring on board are going to be trained, are going to be told this is what we need to do for our students. This is what our plan is for next year, so we don't run into the same conflicts again and so forth. And at least also when it comes to the assessment side, we have flexibility there where we can give the students the assessment, let's say now, and then let them know, okay, due to unfortunate circumstances that we faced, you have maybe 2 weeks to finish this. So students are also not disadvantaged in any way when it comes to their assessments, when it comes to their tests. We've also set up or are in the process of setting up an after school calendar for such subjects where they were unfortunately disadvantaged, where tutors will come on board maybe an hour a week, or if more is needed, we will give the students that. Students just need to voice that, ma'am, I'm still struggling in X, Y, and Z. We'll set up an after school session and we'll go over more lessons with them. In the event now, unfortunately, due to ESCOM, with regards to load shedding and stuff, those classes that do have pre-recorded videos on their Google Classroom, learning still takes place. And when the student comes to their live lessons, we can do a Q&A with them regarding that. In the event where maybe for now, unfortunately, where a lot of things had to be cancelled, we are playing catch up. We are making sure those resources are available to you in due time. So I can say from my point, from what I've seen, we are definitely trying our best to rectify everything. We've recognized we've made mistakes. We do apologize for that. However, we are engaging and we are learning from our mistakes and trying to prevent the same thing from happening in future. I
Thank you
think
so
that's it
much.
from me.
No, that is amazing. And I mean, it's an honest opinion that comes from us, from the academy. You are being in the back end, being with the kids, and obviously being in contact with the tutors. I mean, with the tutors, parents, as well as the students. So it is a huge responsibility that you've taken on. And the fact that you can be open about it on a platform like this is amazing. And I really do appreciate the fact that you're honest about it. Because I always find that, a lot of people that you don't get this, you don't get that honesty, that openness discussed on a live platform, and everything you hear is at the back end. So talking about things, talking about improvements, talking about where we were at fault, it sets us apart from everybody else.
And
Keziah,
it's also, sorry, just
no,
to
go
add to
ahead.
that, it's not only about just saying, unfortunately, yes, this happened, we apologize, let's move forward. Whatever issues parents and students has brought to our attention, it was sat down and it said, this is a concern of yours, let's find a solution for you as soon as possible. That's one
Yes,
of the key words I want to stress there, as soon as possible. We never
yes,
went to a point where it was like, okay, from term 2 onwards, this will be fine. We sat
yeah,
down immediately and addressed concerns. So that's just the
definitely.
point I want to stress there.
No, no, you are so right. I mean, we found the problems. Parents raised them. We chat. I mean, I'm part of that group where I even raised certain concerns as well, and I could immediately see, okay, fine, but this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to fix this. This is, and certain things was put in place. And unfortunately, with everything else, if you put things in place immediately, it's not going to work 100% in the beginning. But that is all part of growth. That's all part of planning and improving. I mean, if we are perfect, we wouldn't have this discussion right now. And we never ever said that we are perfect, but we improve, and we strive to perfection. That is our goal. That is our aim. But I'd like to talk to Keziah. She is what I would say our first contact besides myself. Sales and marketers is always first. But Keziah is what keeps the ground going. She is the foundation of the academic side of Seeds Academy. So Keziah,
Non-academic.
well, non-academic. You help them get into class. You put them on Google Classroom if you can assist them. Give them the tutor information, all those type of things. So definitely all over. So,
Yeah.
Keziah, I know you've joined us. This is the first time you're joining us on our webinar, but you've also done our inductions, introducing our parents and students to the program before they even start the program, and explaining to them. Can you take us a bit through your experience through January?
Okay, so first of all, I am Kazai Zachariah, which Melissa has introduced me in the beginning. I'm the Customer Experience Director. So as she also mentioned, I'm the first point of contact when it comes to Seat Academy. So my experience throughout January, it was a bit tough because it was in fluctuating with the new parents and the new students. And it was a bit hectic, trying to keep or being on par with, getting everybody sorted out on time and things like that. But because of the current situation that we had with COVID, it caused us to obviously grow as a service provider for parents that are homeschooling their students. And then at the same time, it's pushed us a bit back in terms of the tutors and, with regards to the live classes and things that were cancelled. But as Jamira and Melissa and everybody else could vouch as well, that we are on par now, in terms of getting the students sorted out in time and things like that. So initially, the main situation we had was the Google Classroom codes. So that became a bit hectic because we were obviously a few people in the department to assist with regards to that. But we are now on par, and hopefully by tomorrow, all the new students would be sorted out. So I've sacrificed quite a lot of time for all of us here at Seat Academy in terms of, assisting the new parents and getting them on board. And especially with the orientations, I have, done a video as well. So even if parents are busy in the orientation and they are taking down notes, etc., and stating that the sessions are very much informative, I still give them, that extra support by letting them watch the video over and over again to help them understand. And then also with regards to parents, I always advise to them that, even if it is after hours, I'm willing to get up and assist them to the next level, because I believe that if it was me in that position, I would have also, expected the support from the school or from the service providers that is assisting me with regards to helping me with my kids' education and things like that. So with regards to everybody watching, I would just like to make it a known thing that I will always be available, even if it is on weekends, even if I am stipulated to work Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. I'm always there. I've been explaining to the parents that I'll basically guide them, from the first step up until they are able to walk by themselves. So, literally taking them through everything step by step. It's basically, for me, it's like rearing a baby and bringing them up to a certain point where I can now say that they are, comfortable with doing things on their own. They are able to understand what needs to be done. So even if I am going to reiterate it 110 times a day, I'm happy to do that. I don't have a problem. But I guess that is my job. And because I love my job so much, I am happy to do, all of that for the parents and being that support guide for them. And yeah, like I said, with regards to the challenges that we had, I think it has calmed down a bit now that we have sorted out the issue. Initially, the problem that we had also in the beginning was that Google, the service itself, has not been very nice with us. So that has also been sorted out by our IT department. Thanks to JP, he's obviously assisted us in the best way that he could in terms of getting everybody sorted out and things like that. And then yeah, I think that was the main concern for most of the parents. And other than that, parents have always reached out to me. So from today onwards, for those parents that has not yet reached out to me, you can come to me even if you are within grade 12 all the way down to grade R. I'll be available. I'm basically like the all-rounder, so it doesn't really matter what the query is, what grade it is, or what phase it is. I will always be there. And yeah, you can just holler.
Thank you so much, Keziah. And yes, I can vouch for Keziah. She's always available. I mean, I literally, like I said, I walk to her desk and I say, listen, yeah, I've got a parent that needs this and this and this, and she's there readily available. And I mean, there was times in the middle of the night, we tag team. I put in a query and she would complete it, and then somebody would tell us, guys, you need to go sleep. So yeah, so I can really vouch that she is available, and I think it's all about the and John, it makes me think about the culture of Seat Academy. The culture of Seat Academy is family. It's
That's
support, right?
true. Definitely, definitely. Seat Academy is ultimately, we see it as a family. I mean, if you think about it, you spend more time at Seat Academy because I am spending more time with Seat Academy than our own family at the moment. So we do see us as a family. It's a working family. I just like to say thank you to our guys that have joined us, Jennifer, Lauren, Lazan. Thank you for your positive comments. Yeah, our team is working flat out to try to make sure that our parents and our learners are okay. And we're working very strongly on our systems to ensure that our systems work well. And as we've said, we the things that we have control over, we controls. Things we don't have control over is if somebody accepts a job they're supposed to start on Monday. We've done the induction, and then Friday they tell us, sorry, I've accepted another job. There's no, they're supposed to at least give us a month's notice because that's what the contract says, but people just leave you. And it's not fair on our learners. It's not fair on our parents. It's not even fair on the rest of the staff because now everybody's under pressure. And I'm glad that you've called this webinar, Melissa, so that we can just explain to our parents that we're doing everything in our power. And the thing about it is that we're offering live classes. So with live classes, you have to have a person there. We could easily have done what some other service providers do and just offer the lessons. But the reason we offer the live classes is because we believe in the holistic development of the learners. And we are going to be adding clubs and societies later in the year, in fact, later this term. But in terms of the live classes, it's a very important tool because it's not just about academic excellence. It's also about the emotional intelligence and development of our learners, as well as the development of the leadership skills, the entrepreneurial skills, the creativity, and the rest of it. And that's basically why we insisting on having. I mean, we can run a very smooth ship if we don't have live classes.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, the live classes is a critical component, and we'll never compromise on the quality of what we want to offer our learners. So, yeah, from my side as a CEO, once again, I just want to apologize to our parents for the rocky start to the year. And as Tumira said, the thing with Seat Academy is we have a sense of extreme ownership. We take ownership if we've done something that's not correct,
Mhm.
or if we haven't delivered. And basically from here on in, we are setting up a ship that's going to go smooth in terms of smooth sailing.
And yes,
Yeah.
with even John, with even with smooth sailing, I mean, I'll be honest, we can start off with the smooth, but there's always going to be some rocky waters along the way. But it's how we manage to get through that rocky waters, how we navigate that. And I think, I mean, one of the things that we navigated with missing out on tutors that we did in January, which you didn't mention, is that we've got 4 classes for a particular subject. And what we've done is, because there's no tutor in that particular class, we've actually combined it. Which there was a plan in action. It wasn't the best plan that we had, but it was a solution at the time that could help those students. So that needs to be mentioned as well. So yes, the class is cancelled for the A class, but I mean the D class is still going. So just join that class. You still get a
Yeah.
live class.
Correct.
So there
That's
was
that's
it was just a little bit of confusion that was happening, honestly. But I mean, we found a solution. We tried to implement it. And like I always tell parents, and anything, it takes about 2 weeks for everybody to settle in. It takes 2 weeks for your student to really to adjust. It takes 2 weeks for the parents to really adjust to anything. And being at the first day of school on the new year, it is even crazy because now you've got 2,000 kids and 4,000 parents wanting attention because it's the first day of school. And so, yes, you are going to have a little bit of backflap with this is not being done, that is not right. But it takes us 2 weeks to get things in place. It takes us 2 weeks to fix our problems. And problems that can be fixed immediately, we do that. And yes, we had issues with the Google Classroom codes that's being sent out. And it's not that we didn't send it, guys. I mean, we can show you it was sent. But unfortunately, when it was sent, Google is like, guys, you're sending out too much information. We're blocking you now. So, but we fix it. So, I'm not too sure if there is anything else that anybody would like to share. Otherwise, we're going to say goodbye and off for today. Is there anything anybody has a last comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something in that we do have an exciting announcement that we will be making in that, at Seat Academy, we started off with Google Classroom, and I feel that we've outgrown Google Classroom, and we're going to, within this year, transition from Google Classroom to another LMS, and that's going to solve a lot of these problems. So as Melissa said, so even when we send the codes to learners, what tends to happen is Google then basically doesn't send it immediately. It takes between 1 and 3 and 5 days, and that's where most of the challenges has come in with regards to Google Classroom. But we're basically moving to a different system, and the reason why people might ask, why are you using Google Classroom and not another LMS like other online schools? It's because we a lean company. We try to provide things at the most affordable cost, which means our input cost needs to be minimal. And as we grow, we obviously look at what is the best price for that we can get something at that will provide the world-class education system we want to provide. And our prices will always be the most affordable for what we offer. Our closest competitors is probably 3 to 5 times to 7 times as much as what we charge, even up to 10 times as much as what we charge. And it's not that we want to be the cheapest, but it's just that we want to provide a quality education to as many South Africans as possible. That's our goal. It's we want to provide a world-class education system because that's the only thing that's able to change this country. And so that's our passion, and that's why our staff are passionate. And some of our staff work until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning to make things happen. And it's because we're passionate about the country. It's because we're passionate about changing the country. And for us, this is not just a business, but it's an academy that has been set up to really shift the balance of power, especially for our poorer folks in South Africa. Eventually, our mission is to be able to provide a world-class education to every single South African. That's our mission, and I believe that we will achieve that. Thank you.
Yes.
I have a dream.
Yes. And you know what? That dream can become a reality. And I believe, we've had some chats, and I am so excited for everything that Seat Academy has got in plan. We are moving forward. We are creating an environment for our kids, for our future generations, preparing them. And really, really preparing them. And I would love to discuss what we have planned, but I know I can't, so I need to keep my mouth shut about certain things. But yes, guys, thank you so much for sacrificing your hour today, or hour and a half that I've been online with you. Really appreciate having you online, and I really, really appreciate your honesty with regards to our challenges. And looking forward to a more smoother run during February. Thank you to the listeners for joining us. Thank you for the beautiful comments that you've received. Every little comment that you made on here, it just motivates us in doing better, achieving more, and knowing that we are doing the right thing. So thank you so much, listeners. We appreciate the comments and you taking your time off today. Everybody else, until
I have
next
one
time.
more thing. One more
Oh,
thing.
goodness.
I wanted to just say to all of the students and the parents, it's just a little quote that's been keeping me going, is that motivation is what gets the students started, but it's the habit that would keep you going. So I do encourage parents and students to continue to thrive and to work along with us here at Seat Academy, and I believe that we will strive to become the best in South Africa.
No, we will become the best, guys. So thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Thank you
See you
so
guys
much.
Monday in the office.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Keep well.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.